Hi, lovely people. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're enjoying Cancer season. And I guess the day that this comes out, it might be the day of the full moon in Capricorn. So enjoy that. The energy for me has felt ridiculously heavy. I hope that you're doing better than I am. So anyways, this reading is going to be on the topic of for someone who forgot who the fuck they are. So we're basically just going to look at a couple elements here. An aspect of your identity, power, or truth that may have been silenced, dimmed, or abandoned, where you may be shrinking yourself or performing rather than being yourself, what truth wants to rise within you, what gift, power, or passion have you maybe forgotten that you carry? How can you reclaim yourself fully and unapologetically, and what becomes possible when you do remember who you are? So we're basically just we're gonna talk you up, because that's one of my favorite types of readings. So there's a membership area now, which is amazing. There's just one tier, and they get one extra reading every week. You can click the join button at the top of my Instagram, or not my Instagram, my YouTube page, if you want to check that out. And there's also a link in the info box down below, okay? I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this reading resonates with those who it is meant for. And let's dive into it. So, yeah, let's start by looking at what part of you has potentially gone quiet. So this will be like a core aspect of your identity or your power that has maybe been a little bit silenced here. The Village and the Moon in reverse. Interesting. I'm actually seeing this as being what silenced this. This is quite deep. Okay. Okay. So I guess we're just getting right into it here. Moon in reverse. This is Piscean energy. Some people also associate it with Cancer, although the moon card in the tarot is Pisces card. Okay, so let's just feel into this a little bit together. So the Village is quite an interesting card. It kind of has it's kind of a double-edged sword here. So it can represent your family, your hometown, the place that feels like home, that that you can always return to. And usually it's like nostalgia or comfort that will draw you back to this place, right? And then, so on the other hand, it is the place that you have to leave in order to grow and truly be yourself. So with this card, it kind of represents this unspoken boundary that you are meant to stay within these borders and not leave them behind. So this kind of speaks to a restricting energy, either from a specific group, a community, an ideology, a family, a place. And it usually represents somewhere that served you in the past, but it harms you to stay within its parameters now. So you're sort of meant to be grateful for what this has provided and know that you can always come home to visit, kind of thing, but that there is so much more that you are meant to experience. When this card is in its lighter energy, though, it does talk about intimacy and being rooted and kind of creating something that can be like intergenerational. So it can talk about your legacy. But with the moon in reverse, the part of you that went quiet, I'm going to clarify that because I don't know. Tell me about the moon in reverse here. Why is this here? Why the moon in reverse? That feels really deep and heavy. Okay. We have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse at the bottom of the deck, the Moon in reverse, and the King of Wands in reverse. My goodness. This is just a huge energy of shrinking yourself to fit inside the walls of something that feels very constrictive. The King of Wands, hate seeing him in reverse. Absolutely fucking hate it. Because he's a badass and he is a leader. He is someone, of all the kings, he's the king that it is least natural for him to ever make himself small. He does not belong in places that confine him or hold him back, because it's his spirit that is being held back. And that is obviously the core of who we are. So it's basically saying that the most important part of you is the part of you that has gone quiet. The absolute core aspect of your identity, power, and truth is what has gone quiet. The part of you that would actually say what you mean, express yourself, be open, be free, be liberated. The Moon in reverse talks about fearlessness. It talks about digging into yourself to determine to face your fears and your insecurities and liberate yourself from them, empower yourself from them, and become more in dominion over your life. It feels like this more bold, expressive, and authentic part of yourself has been snuffed out, honestly, by the walls of whatever this is. So that is a lot. That's not a small part. And I feel like also this is part of you that really sees yourself as capable, believes in yourself, believes that you can break out on your own and be okay. Started seeing yourself as not capable, or you're tired, and so you're not taking opportunities that are quite abundant or meant for you. There's some sort of weight that really needs to be dropped here. And as soon as these cards came out, I felt like a massive heaviness. This could be something that is currently being pulled out of you right now, because I felt that energy so strongly. I feel like it's something that you are experiencing currently for it to hit me like that. And it feels incredibly, it kind of feels like depression. So all of you may not be experiencing it that heavily, but that is the natural consequence of us losing the most important part of ourselves. Of course, yeah, it's not gonna feel okay, right? Losing yourself. So is there anything else about that? No, let's carry on. Okay, so where did you start shrinking to survive? So was there a specific moment, environment, or maybe a relationship that taught you to be less, taught you that you needed to be less, to be approved of, to be loved, or to be safe? So this could be a relationship with your family. It could be a relationship with a partner. It could be a specific moment or experience, or again, it could be like a place or an environment, like your home, your hometown, something like that. So where did you start shrinking to survive? Ghost in reverse and the Queen of Cups. Is this you running from the depth of your own emotion and love and capacity to love? The Ghost in reverse. It feels like you experienced love that you could not run from, or deny. It was unconditional love. But for some reason, this situation ended up causing you to shrink. Okay, I see. Yeah. I feel what this is. There's a situation you didn't feel like you could walk away from because you loved someone very much at one point. And so you kept on showing up because you had genuine feelings and care. But this is telling me you felt as though you could not leave. Okay, so I don't know if you felt that way because of the depth of your own emotion, but you were taken advantage of in this connection with whoever this was with. So whether this is you loving your family and not feeling like you can leave, and then them just like very much taking advantage of or feeling very entitled to your energy, or maybe this was a romantic relationship where the person did not treat you as well. It's like they saw your love and they chose to capitalize on that, essentially. So they could have used that to manipulate or control you, to micromanage your life, to keep you stuck. But whatever this is, you started being less after this experience, and the part of you that started being less was the part of you full of love. I think that you became afraid that if you ever loved unconditionally and deeply again, that everyone would just take advantage of you. Maybe this happened to you more than once even. But speaking from personal experience, all it really takes is one time of going through something like this to put you in a place where you will do just about anything to never feel that way again. So yeah, I get it. I get it. But that's what I'm getting from that. It really feels like someone just straight up took advantage of your heart. And after you came out of that, you were like, never again. Yeah, bottom of the deck, the King of Swords, the Ten of Swords in reverse, Judgment in reverse. Exactly. You took yourself out of your heart and out of this part of your spirit that is governed by healthy, sacred desire. It's like you stopped trusting your truth, your heart, your desires, your passion, and you put your head and your ego in the driver's seat. And I think that this was necessary for a time because you needed to release pain surrounding a deep betrayal or deception or hurt from this situation. But it feels like you never actually healed it completely or resolved or reconciled this, and that is why this part of you is still small. That's why you haven't reclaimed these parts of yourself yet. It feels like this is still in control here. Is there anything else about that? But yeah, that's the origin point that I see here. Yeah, something was very imbalanced. Very. Yeah. And you felt like you wanted to liberate yourself from it, but you didn't feel like you could. You felt stuck in something. I feel like you knew emotionally that you needed to end it and walk away, but you had decided that something was your happiness, and it was kind of like you may have ignored your internal feelings about letting it go or not leaping into something because, I don't know, because it was easier to just, once you were already in this love, it's hard to uproot it, right? Sometimes it's easier to tell ourselves lies and stay in something longer than we should, even though we already know that it's going to end, because we just don't want to initiate or instigate that pain. We would rather believe, like hold on to a thread of hope that maybe it's not going to end that way. Maybe our intuition is wrong. And then it hurts even more when it does end up the way we knew it would be, because we know that we lied to ourselves and we abandoned ourselves, right? And we all do this. I think every human has done this at some point. But it does hurt. It's when we realize that self-abandonment and self-rejection is the deepest abandonment and rejection. And we do usually make that vow to ourselves. I will never lose myself that way again. I will never let someone take that part of me again. The thing is that when someone is able to take something from us, right? That's not saying that that's right, that anyone's behavior is right if they feel entitled or if they're taking advantage. But ultimately, you are the only person who can allow something to be taken from you or not. And it's in your perspective. It's all in your perception. So frame it this way, just for an example, right? Let's say that you go through a very difficult relational situation and they cheat on you, or they disconnect emotionally slowly while you're still in it, and then they just cut off and leave. And they're able to do so quite quickly because they've been disconnecting under the surface over a long period of time, right? There's lots of things that can put us into this situation. But I think you had committed to something long-term, and it ended up being the opposite of what you thought that it was going to be, and this really affected you. It hurt you. And the thing is, when we perceive it, we can look at it and be like, once we have a little more distance or perspective, we can be like, look at how much that situation taught me. Did it hurt? Yes. But you can look at it like, did it steal from me? Or did it show me the places where I was not complete and strong within myself, where it was possible for me to lose myself or be consumed? Because someone who is fully sovereign and in dominion over themselves, nothing can be taken from them. Not really. Because when you're fully secure in yourself, even if someone tries to cut you down, they can't reach you. They can't reach those places. No one can take a part of you, right, from you, unless you are perceiving it as having been taken from you. And the thing is, when people do betray us or they hurt us or deceive us, it's the ego that is the voice that is saying, they stole this, like this is what was lost, right? But when you start pouring your love and healing back into yourself, when you start to feel whole again, right? What is the difference? Nothing has changed from the past situation. And that just shows you that you were actually whole all along. You were just healing the part of you, the perspective that got fragmented and made you think that something had been taken. But we always learn from situations, and sometimes, especially the really painful ones, unfortunately, it's kind of how the whole human experience goes at times. Okay, let's carry on. Who have you been performing as instead of being yourself? So this is maybe a mask, a role, or an identity that you've become stuck in that no longer fits. Okay. The Queen of Wands. Wow, this is a lot of sacral energy. The Queen of Wands, and then this card, detoxification, says cleansing. The trigger statement, I will never change. The true statement, in each moment, I'm a new me. You are supported as you release habits and limiting patterns that are not serving your highest good. Okay. Well, this is coming through as someone who is extremely connected to their lower chakras, their confidence, their body, their sexuality, maybe. Not the emotional element, really. I'm not picking up of the sacral, but just more so the fiery and like confident element. And since this is coming out as this is a mask or a role that you've been playing, right? So it's not necessarily coming out as being the most evolved and healthy version of these archetypes. The Queen of Wands, when she is performing, is someone who is a people pleaser, but she kind of masks it as being like an entertainer, a performer, someone who maybe is very bubbly, or again, very like sexual or sensual, very attractive, very charming, knows how to kind of like charm and wrap people around her finger, but usually as a means of distracting them from seeing what's going on deeper inside of her. So she can be quite superficial when she is just a mask, right? And I feel like this is the part of you that is very fiery and passionate, but only on a superficial level. And so, and in every moment, I'm a new me. This is coming through as like, your mask is you being someone that's very charming, charismatic, but very superficial, and someone who can just cut and run, cleanse things out and just basically always be on the move. So it's kind of the more toxic element of this, releasing habits and limiting patterns that are not serving your highest good. I feel like you don't actually see clearly what those things are because you are disconnected from the parts of you that would tell you what those things are. Your ego and the King of Swords won't be able to tell you that. So, not fully. Anyways, that's only part of the equation of being able to understand what is truly for us. We still need our emotions and our intuition and our spirit as part of the input there, right? So this is coming through as someone who, is just surface level, maybe charming, maybe uses like overt sexuality to distract again from people ever getting closer, from true intimacy and connection, and then someone who finds it easier to just cut and run rather than actually connect or face struggles if they come up. So it's kind of someone who's like the grass is always greener, not non-committal, not loyal, but it's coming from personal insecurity generally. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else about that wants to come up. This was hiding all the pain and grief that was underneath you, though, underneath the mask. That's what this has been hiding. It's telling me, though, that you're still performing this identity or a role. It's a current placement. So the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, exactly. Not truly investing in anything. Not really being all in a way that would actually allow anything to truly grow. Being very superficial. This is like just taking a potted plant and just throwing it on top of a mound of dirt and expecting it to just grow, instead of like digging a hole in the ground, carefully putting it in, patting the soil around it, watering it, making sure it gets sun. It's like not even doing the bare minimum. And so then of course the things that you're investing in, right, you're not really investing in them. So the Seven of Pentacles in reverse talks about not putting effort in, not being invested, not being committed, and just, again, this energy of being very superficial, like surface level, even with the energy, the time, the effort that you give. But it's coming from, I feel like, a place of indecision and hesitancy that was put in you based on a decision that you made to commit to something deeply in the past, and then that thing ended up burning you, right? So then you kind of were like, I'm safer on the surface, not ever giving that much of myself again, because you don't trust that everyone won't do the exact same thing to you that whoever that situation was did. Okay, what truth within you is rising again? The essence of you that is awakening a little bit louder this time. It wants to be witnessed. It wants to come out in a bold, raw, and untamed way because it has been denied or repressed for some time. Wow. These are both Venus, but the Empress is in reverse. That is so interesting. Wow, there's a lot of energy coming off these cards. Your heart desperately wants your attention. Your heart and your soul the part of you that gets turned on by life, the part of you that actually enjoys, la dolce vita, the sweet life, the part of you that can enjoy those things because you allow yourself to truly taste them, right? Because you're not just skimming the surface, because that's existing, but it's not living. Absolutely, it's not living when you're not connected to your heart and soul. Nowhere near. It's very empty and hollow kind of existence, quite depressing actually. So maybe that's why I felt that depression kind of energy show up there a little bit. Let me read from the book about what this says about Venus, because I think that I remember it describing things quite beautifully here. Okay, yeah. So Venus, it represents pleasure, eros, and beauty. With the arrival of Venus, the senses open as if for the first time. It's the planet of pleasure, of touch, of sensual delight. Venus is often depicted as romance or eroticism between people, but it can also be experienced as an all-out love affair with Mother Nature or life itself. Aphrodite emerging from the ocean is a classic example of Venus imagery, as is Cupid with his bow. No matter how old or jaded you are, when this card appears, it's a sign that attraction is at an all-time high. Life is alight with love. You may be in love with the work, with the materials, with another person, or the world itself. Seeing beauty in small moments is a sign that Venus is in balance. An obligatory reminder that pleasure and pain are usually found intertwined. It says to ponder the language of embrace. Okay. This energy is about the experience. Okay. When Venus energy is off balance or not tempered, the senses pull you towards excessive actions that are not really congruent with the heart and cause regret. Okay. So you might be pulled towards just like base level lusty relationships, or you might have one night stands or something, and then you wake up and you feel kind of hollow after, or maybe you are pulled to filling a void with some sort of substance, or even just like the thrill, whatever that is. But it does talk about excessive indulgence when it's not in balance. So your Venusian energy and your heart is going to demand here. If it's not already, it's going to continue getting louder and louder and louder until you hear what it has to say. And this card or the book is saying attraction is at an all-time high. So it's interesting because I'm seeing with the Empress in reverse, you are still denying this part of yourself, but there is something that you are deeply attracted or pulled to. I just don't see you actually going for it, or maybe even admitting your attraction to it, because you're disconnected from this part of yourself currently to such a degree. Maybe you can't even tell or see clearly if this is something that you truly want or desire, because again, that desire is kind of muddied. Let's get a little bit more. Can you tell me why the Empress is in reverse here, please? Yeah, this essence of you is demanding to be put back online. And I think that there's something in your life that is sparking that is maybe catalyzing that. So it could be that you're falling in love again, whether you like it or not. It could be that there's something that you just are learning how to do, like a new hobby, a new experience, a new creative sort of thing. It could be anything. It could even be travel. But whatever is calling to you, it is going to light you up in a way that is kind of unavoidable. And that's on purpose, because these very important parts of yourself need to be reintegrated. They need to be a part of you. They are a part of you. They are the essence of you. The Knight of Pentacles in reverse, the Seven of Cups in reverse, and the Emperor. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So there is something that you know how you feel about, but you're not moving towards it. Or you might be moving towards it, but from a strictly masculine energy. But that is not all that is required of you. You are required to connect to your heart and your soul. So again, it can't really just be surface level. It can't be just assertion, just control, just strategy, just the mind, right? This needs to be approached, and we have the Emperor and the Empress here. So this is telling me the Empress energy, the yin energy in you wants to be reintegrated back in so that there is actual balance there. So maybe some of you have an Empress energy in your life, like a feminine energy that is inspiring you, that is very much in their Venusian energy or their Eros energy, and that you are very attracted to, even if it's not like romantic or sexual. It's like you are very attracted because it's a magnetic kind of energy. But there's something here that it's saying you do know how you feel with clarity, but you are still holding yourself back. It's like you're practicing extreme self-restraint. But this was actually put on your path because it's helping bring back to life this very, very vital part of you. So, yeah. Like I said, it doesn't have to be another person, but it very well could be. Especially because, you know, generally the way that the heart goes back online is through falling in love again. And usually we don't feel ready, because when do you ever feel ready again after like a big pain to really like fully put yourself into something again, right? It takes a long time, and sometimes it never feels like the moment is truly right because we're scared. But I'm seeing that, yeah, this is getting louder and louder because your Emperor energy is in the upright. So it's saying that you are mostly in dominion over yourself. You're just disconnected from this incredibly key part. So I feel like you have overcompensated maybe, or you are currently in your masculine energy slightly. Okay. Is there anything else about that? No. Okay. For some of you, you're just getting over the anxiety of recognizing how you truly feel. And then you're kind of seeing the imbalance within yourself that is causing an insecurity about moving towards something. I think some of you are also seeing how you manifested a lack of commitment and a lack of success where there could have been intense success. So, because at the bottom of the deck, you have the Magician. So you manifested something in, but then maybe didn't commit to it because you didn't believe that there could be success, probably because of these past situations. But what this thing truly is, especially if it's the Emperor and the Empress, is the 10 of Cups. There's the King of Cups, the 6 of Cups. Yeah. The King and Queen of Cups, the 10 of Cups, the Emperor and the Empress, the Venus card, the King and Queen of Wands. If this is a partnership, yeah, this isn't something you're going to be able to avoid because it is connected to you in just about every way that someone can be. And again, that's not meant to be scary. It doesn't mean that you're going to be devoured and consumed and you're going to lose yourself to someone who's going to manipulate and control you. No, that's not what this is. Okay. What gift, power, or passion has been forgotten? So this is a soul trait or maybe a sacred ability that is still alive, but there is a lot of doubt that has been kind of stifling it. Let's see. Duration and the High Priestess in reverse. the power of truth, for one, the power of openness, radical openness, not hiding. There is a part of you that was very, very powerful and passionate, I feel like, about being yourself, your independent, autonomous self, and not compromising, speaking your truth clearly, and showing up in an energy of constancy, continuity, endurance, perseverance, maturity, strength, stability, and deep commitment. So there is a part of you that is like this, right? That is very open, that is very clear about your commitments, not on the fence, not hesitant, not doubtful, but knows what they want when they see it and goes for it, right? That is what has been, what you've forgotten that you carry. That's what's coming up as what you have forgotten. And it's because this made you doubt it. And this situation made you doubt it. And then I feel like you've entered some sort of comfort zone where you have been limited even further, or you made yourself even smaller. And it could be a place where you don't feel seen, understood, or comfortable actually stating your truth. And you could have also felt like very, kind of just knocked down or cut down, even maybe when you went back to this place. Because I'm kind of seeing the timeline as like you getting hurt by whatever this is and then returning to somewhere out of nostalgia or comfort again, because maybe you were seeking that comfort because you needed it. But I feel like now you've outgrown this, and you have definitely outgrown this mask and this very surface level, just kind of existence that doesn't truly let you connect in an intimate or meaningful way, or invest in anything to the degree that you could actually be successful in it. Because the Seven of Pentacles in reverse again is like not being committed in an enduring way, not having the strength to show up, not having the patience to let something mature, not creating the stability and the safety for that to happen. So that is what you have begun doubting. It's your actual truth. And I feel like your heart has been shrouded in fear. And I think that you've been lying to yourself that you're at peace about something here. That you're at peace maybe with not expressing your truth, or you're at peace with just keeping everything in your head, holding on to your own energy and, convincing yourself that that is strength, but that is fear. Because again, no one who feels whole and like when you're connected to the depth of your heart, to love and to life force energy, it just overflows out of you. And it's infinite. There's no running out. There is no like, if I give too much, oh no, then I'm gonna, no, it doesn't even cross your mind, because you're so full of it that you are the source of it. You are connected to the source. You can't run out. So then there's no fear about running out. There's no fear about loving unconditionally and then something being taken from you, because it can't be. And you're aware of that, right? But here, there's just a whole bunch of fear and this like paranoia, like if I give too much, then I could lose everything. I could lose myself in someone else. That is just coming from not having a strong sense of self, because you cannot lose yourself in someone if you know who you are. You cannot. It's impossible. So you do have this part of you that is incredibly strong and constant, that is invested deeply in an intimate, passionate, vulnerable and deep kind of way, like on a soul and heart level, invested, putting your spirit into things, being convicted, speaking your truth, not feeling that you have to like hold everything in and hide, whether that is your truth, your expression of your true self, or whether it is your energy, just giving your energy to something or someone. Anything else about that? Whoa. The Queen of Swords in reverse and the Page of Cups. Yeah. You severed off the purest part of your heart, your connection to that part. So this is a very like dreamy, imaginative, creative, vulnerable, and open-hearted part of you that it's like the Page of Cups is like a childlike sense of wonder, looking at the world around you with excitement, with wonder. Everything's an adventure. Everything holds beauty. It's a very sort of poetic, playful, and pure kind of energy. The Queen of Swords in reverse is someone who gets hurt and then goes numb or goes cold, gets very severe, gets very harsh, forgets their own softness, forgets their own truth, and just kind of lives in bitterness and coldness, or just a sense of numbness or defensiveness, right? Against things that normally actually would fulfill them on a very, very deep and soulful or heart-based level. Yeah, okay. So how can you reclaim yourself fully and unapologetically? What is the next clear step to returning to your wholeness, your fire, your essence, really? Let's see. The Nine of Pentacles in reverse and Illumination in reverse. Yeah, there's something you're not letting yourself see here with Illumination in reverse. I feel like it is, you are confident and strong enough. You do have a strong enough sense of self, actually, to go after whatever it is you want. I feel like all the growth that has gone down from, this situation, all of this, again, you can frame it in a way where I've wasted time, I've gotten stuck in a disguise, I cut myself off from my heart, blah, blah, blah. Yes, maybe those things are true, but at the same time, you can shift your perspective and say, what has all of this taught me? How can I return to myself in a complete and confident way, having gained illumination and understanding of myself, right? And how can I move forwards with that under my belt? This is the part of you that wants to be reclaimed, the part of you that believes your own truth, your own desire, your own heart is solid, stable, and secure within themselves because they're taking good care of themselves, and then they have enough assuredness in themselves to go after the things that their desire illuminates that they want, right? To not question themselves, to not doubt, to not get stuck in hesitancy and fear. So that's the part of you. Okay, so that's what wants to happen for you to reclaim yourself. So I feel like you need to look at the areas here where you're not being truthful with yourself. You're not allowing yourself to see the light of something that maybe you're very attracted to, or that there's this part of yourself that is very passionate, very alive, sensual, that is unapologetically, like unavoidably, undeniably being pulled towards something in a very powerful way. And I feel like you haven't really allowed yourself to truly admit that. Maybe because you don't feel confident that you have what is needed to truly offer this thing. But I'm seeing that you do. You are. So maybe you just haven't truly looked at the big picture of your circumstances, how far you've come. Maybe you haven't revisited these more painful things because they're hard to look at. They're painful, right? For obvious reasons. But I think that you're far enough removed from these experiences now, and that you've done enough healing and returned home to yourself enough already, that they're basically saying all you really need to do is, with courage, reflect on this whole journey that you've been on, because I think you're going to see that you are already here. You're already here, and you deserve and desire to go after whatever is pulling at you from those deeper places. And it's pulling at you because it's meant for you. And you're manifesting that from a healthy place because of all the work and growth that you've done, and because you've integrated a lot back into yourself due to these past situations. So it feels like now you are actually connecting to something that is your equal, whether that's just an opportunity, a path, a person, or another version of yourself, like your higher self being integrated more into you. But yeah, is there anything else about that? How my collective can reclaim their wholeness here? Well, 3 of Wands. There's something about looking towards the future with excitement, seeing it as a bright future, an adventure, like looking at it not from a place of jadedness or doubt, but looking at it with excited anticipation. Because there is something here in front of you that I feel like you're coming into contact with. And yeah, I think that the worry is just kind of useless, because I'm getting a very strong sense that you are going to connect with whatever this thing is that you feel very drawn to. So I think that the worry is just, it's like worry over nothing, or worry over something that is not going to actually happen, is kind of the sense that I'm getting. So they want you to look towards the future with a sense of brightness, without anxiety, and to commit to the future because you're feeling into it, and it does actually feel secure and solid. Okay, so lastly, what becomes possible when you kind of fully remember who you are? What liberation, magic, or alignment is going to bloom when you stop playing small? The candle just went out. I just noticed just this second. Interesting. Okay. The vow, the 3 of Swords in reverse, and the wheel. Wow. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse. The vow, deep commitment. This energy, this energy, this energy. I'm going to read this from the book to close things off, but because you have not been truly allowing yourself to invest in and commit to things that call to you on a deeper level, right? You have still been committing and investing in things. It's just that you've only been committing to and investing in these superficial things that probably only can meet you at that same superficial level. And ironically, those are probably the kinds of connections that would end up taking advantage of you or not seeing you because, well, you're not showing your true self to them. You're not showing up as yourself, right? And usually more superficial kind of connections and experiences, they're only seeking that anyways, right? So I feel like what becomes possible when you remember who you are is you are actually able to discern what is calling to you from the depth of your heart and soul that is safe to move towards, and then be confident towards actually investing and committing in that in a solid and secure and long-lasting, mature kind of way. And then with the Wheel of Fortune and the 3 of Swords both in reverse, Some of you feel like you've had like a string of bad luck, like years of bad luck. And you feel like everything that you've connected to hasn't been right, or it hasn't been aligned, or it hasn't been the right time. The part of you that is going to align and bloom when you stop playing small here is the part of you that has healed from these situations. Because I think that the reason these things weren't aligned with you is, again, the reasons I just said, because of the way you were connecting to them or not allowing yourself to connect to them. Whatever is coming in and calling you now, this is the truth that is demanding to be heard. It's the essence of you that is reawakening, bold, raw, untamed, and loud, right? Not avoidable, not ignorable. And it's the part of you that is going to show you why you've been so unfulfilled within yourself and your connections. And it's also going to show you that you've moved out of that, which is beautiful. You don't have to stay here anymore, and you're being called out of this for sure. So let's read the vow from the book to close off this reading. Let's see, it's got quite deep. Okay, the vow, 173. It says the promise, the oath, the contract. When the vow is spoken, the air shifts, karmic ties are formed, and destiny tilts on its axis. Our words and intentions have immense power. There is reason the great mythic stories of our past often include the reciting of oaths and the mixing of drops of blood as a mark of union. The tricky part is that reciting the vow, no matter how casually, activates the eternal and unseen forces of the world. The ancestors bear witness. The laws of nature respond. These promises cannot be unsaid or forgotten, so breaking them can leave lingering complexities and loose ends. This card calls us to acknowledge the vow we are living by, consciously or unconsciously, and either recommit to it or create a ritual that signifies its closure. You've been underestimating the power of your promises. It says, think of the last promise you made. Was it to yourself or another? Has it been upheld or broken? It also says, anytime the energy of the vow is present, we are in the archetypal realm of ceremony and ritual. That means time stands still and anything is possible. When light, bearing witness to the shift towards destiny. When dark, unconscious vows, unkept promises, and messy karma. Yeah. The thing with this is that I feel like all of this is you abandoning yourself and not keeping these promises to yourself, because you weren't even aligned with certain very deep parts of yourself. So you were just wearing shallow masks or showing up as this very small part of yourself that wasn't speaking your truth, wasn't even calibrated to your own truth, right? Wasn't connected to your heart. And so there could be a part of you, because of this energy of not really investing and being very doubtful and hesitant because you don't trust yourself, right? That probably hasn't been keeping its promises either to itself or others. And this could have been kind of rocky because, as this card says, there are karmic implications, or there are big implications to that, right? Breaking them can leave lingering complexities and loose ends. The power of your promise is big. And I think that, yeah, there's been an underestimating of exactly what you, it's almost like you thought you weren't committing to anything by putting yourself in this situation. But all it really did was cause you to commit to more things that took from you, just in a different way than this took from you. It's kind of like they just ate away at your spirit, or convinced you that you didn't want anything deeper, and that's bullshit. That's a damn lie. You do. You want much more than you've been having, and you have much more to give and invest. And you're meant to reconnect with that part of yourself, because this is magic. This aligns you with destiny, with expansion, with your own liberation and authentic embodiment of self, which is the aim, the goal, right? A very powerful place to be. So is there anything else about what becomes possible here when they stop playing small before I let my lovely people go? No, I think that that's it. There's a decision, though, that does need to be made here. The Two of Wands in reverse, picking a path, death and rebirth. Something needs to evolve desperately, and it is going to feel like a death, but it's going to feel like a death of the deceitful, because this is not you. All of this, right? And it feels like this has already happened, started happening, this shift, but there's still, it's the feminine part of you, that emotionally and soul-based or intuitively expressive part that is not afraid to commit, to be all in, to love unconditionally, to pursue the things that light you on fire unapologetically. There has been something that has been oppressive or out of balance, something that has been not tempered. So again, it could have been trying to fill a void with, I don't know, sex, substances, it could be anything, right? It could be food, it could be working out, it could be keeping yourself busy, moving on all the time, shallow relationships, things that numb you out or make you, even things that make you more jaded, like in a masochistic kind of way, to keep you cut off from the parts of you that would be soft and tender, that would be a liability, right? That's what needs to be disconnected from. But I feel like a lot of it is just your worry, your doubt, your anxiety, and your hesitancy, because again, I feel like you have done a lot of evolving and growth. Yeah. And there is this opportunity that's right in front of you. Yeah. And it's meant to be, it's meant to be moved towards and committed to. The Hierophant, the Eight of Wands, and the Ace of Pentacles. I feel like once you take this opportunity courageously and you actually do deeply commit to it, things move very quickly in all the ways that they've been stagnant, and you do find your way back to yourself. So that's what I see, my beautiful people. I wish you all of the luck along this journey. I resonate with a lot of this. I've been through this process a couple times actually in my life. And it does get a little bit easier every time, but it's not easy. It's not. I mean, to go through something that causes you to sever yourself off from yourself in a really significant way, it's that alone, right? Tells you that it's not easy. But again, I think that a lot of it in how it becomes easier is just that you start framing it and perceiving it with more grace and more insight and more of an expansive perspective. Again, you start maybe asking not, why did those things happen to me? But you start saying, okay, what did that teach me? Or what can I learn from that? How can I be more in dominion over myself? How can I have a strong sense of self that maybe I didn't have, so that the next time I want to love unconditionally, the next time that I feel pulled to something with this intensity, and I know that it's coming from my heart and soul, I'm not afraid, because I have a strong sense of self. So I know that I can't lose myself, right? So as painful as this journey has been, there is beauty in it. And I think that you are in a state or the process of becoming the most complete and tempered and powerful version and sovereign version of yourself that you've ever been. And I think that that is beautiful. So I love you, love you, love you. Sending you all my kisses and hugs. I'll talk to you again very soon. Stay safe and well until then, okay? Mwah, mwah, mwah. Bye, my loves.